to the people that are considering FI, but just don't know what they're running to. There's no downside to trying this. Long before you actually reach FI, which we define as having 25 times your annual expenses saved up, the power shifts continually to your side of the court. So imagine the first time that you're no longer paycheck to paycheck. How much freedom does that give you? Imagine the first time that you're debt-free. How much more freedom does that give you? Imagine the first time that you have 1 year or 2 years worth of expenses saved up. How does that change when your boss tells you, no, you can't take a vacation at this time? What if you're in a job that has ebbs and flows and you know that right now it's a very powerful job sector to be in, maybe like oil industry or something like that, but there's no guarantee of the outcome of what that job career or that future will be in maybe 5 years from now. You have no idea what it brings. How much power is there in being able to save up 5 or 6 years worth of expenses in that period of time? And the power that gives you when you're picking that next opportunity. So many people pick that next opportunity from a place of scarcity because I have to keep the lights on. I have to make my car payment. I have to pay for the beach house that's down in Nags Head. I have to figure out a way to make the payment on my child's student loans because they're living with us right now. And they haven't been able to find a job. And we're this close to the edge, and it only works because there's a paycheck coming in. How much more power is there when you start slowly realizing that with each additional year of saving you get, put aside in a banking account or investment vehicle, you realize that you've also obtained with that a level of satisfaction and peace with your life. And that if Murphy, and Murphy's law, what can go wrong will go wrong. When something goes wrong, you have 10 years of planning ready for this. So it's not so much an all or nothing experience. There's no downside to you being willing to make some intentional choices, even for a short period of time. And let's say you take this path on and you choose it for 1 or 2 years and you're like, it's garbage. All that control and happiness he said I would get from having 2 or 3 or 5 years of expensive, it was all a lie. The worst case scenario is you just go back to paycheck just like everybody else. It's almost one of the unintentional benefits of pursuing this choice. Choosing to pursue FI, we've said many times, is simple, but it's not easy. But it always starts with the same place. You start with intentionality. And once you become intentional with where you're spending the money, the next step usually is to cut out waste from your life. You look at where your money's going and you just make a simple choice. Does this expenditure add value to my life? If it doesn't, get rid of it. Why would you hold on to it? Once you've cut it all out, let's say, I know some people that have gone from saving nothing, really blowing through $100,000 a year, multiple years, and having nothing to show for it, to an 85% savings rate within a period of months once they realized. And they said, you know what, 85% felt a little extreme, didn't feel like we needed to go that far, so they dialed it back. And they're back at 70%, right? And now every additional thing that you add back in is being added back in with intentionality because it's bringing happiness to your life. So you know that the only things that are in your life are things that are actually adding happiness, as opposed to maybe some of the people that are watching this are hemorrhaging through a Hulu account, a Netflix account, a cable subscription. They got an ESPN magazine subscription. They got 4 other magazines that they've been subscribed to for years because they got it in a bundle pack. They have no idea what they're signed up for. Maybe they have some subscribe and save stuff that the only reason that they're still on the list for it is that they were too lazy to take it off. Just hemorrhaging money left and right. And when you plug those leaks, suddenly you have all this freedom. Now, if you decide, oh, I think we were a little extreme, I'd like to dial it back a little bit, you're adding it back with so much more purpose. So it's just a win-win.